until I get outside and there's a bit of a slant on the ground and it's like I got my one foot as a brake and the hand brakes and it's like I'm just still going.
Oh, the Flintstone move. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
When are we
like,
gonna see you at the skateboard park?
so like Ellie, can you do a wheelie on it or anything like that, or?
No, I tipped it over sideways though.
You rolled it.
I got it stuck on my good leg and it kind of went over sideways. It's like, oh damn, I'm on the floor.
I know.
Come on.
Well, you gotta, maybe a little less wine when you're on that machine.
I'm afraid to drink the wine. Whoa.
Always travel. Keep a coach on your right.
Yeah, but, oh well, just another month on that thing and I should be able to start hobbling a little bit. So,
All right, we've got a few guests that are on right now. We'll welcome them officially, but just so you know, folks, we normally get started around 7:33. We let the last few stragglers join in, and we get the program under. Thank you for joining our meeting.
The late risers.
I wonder if Ken Hurst is thinking of joining Bowmanville Rotary. Hello, Ken.
I hope so.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah.
Good morning, Ken.
Good.
Morning.
Good morning, Ken.
Hey, John.
How are you this morning?
Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Steve, too.
And I
And
see
Morning,
Renee as well. And I
Good
see Kim,
morning.
which is great.
Yeah. Hi, Renee.
Morning.
Another rainy day today.
I can't wait to hear Rachel and Renee.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, well, it's going to be really good.
I got up at 4 o'clock to wait for you, so I wouldn't miss it.
4 a.m.
Rachel's been raving about how wonderful Renee is.
Yeah.
True
And
story, Renee.
And Renee sent me a note how wonderful you were. So look out.
Yeah, we had a really good talk.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Did anyone else get their census in the mail?
Yeah.
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 That's a lot of paper to tell me to go online. Would that not have been easier? I was expecting something really exciting. I'm like ripping it and tearing it apart, and I'm like, oh wow,
It didn't take- it
all
didn't
that
take
to tell me
very-
code.
It didn't take very long to do. Only about 4 or 5 minutes.
I'm almost disappointed.
I was.
There's some festival on the 11th.
Dr. Dhirendra Shah, who's a cardiac specialist at a private hospital in
Okay,
Western India.
Someone's got their TV on. Yeah.
yeah, the 4 or 5 minute census form is the short form. So many people are going to get the short, so many people are going to get the long form. The long form takes over half an hour to do.
Okay.
Oh, I'll brace myself.
Yeah, I know what I'm going to end up with.
I think they send the long forms to the Green
Oh,
Party.
well, Ellie, you don't have anywhere to go right now anyways, right? So
Oh,
I know, but you know, that could be the most exciting thing of my day when I get
there
that.
you go. There you go.
I can think of better things I'd rather do.
Ellie, you and I could have hobbled around together.
Yes.
I'm just getting back on my feet. It's been a month since I broke my foot.
Oh, geez.
I'm still hobbling.
Mike DeRocha, he said to me, this building I moved into must be haunted. There's something wrong with it, because another lady, so we started getting groceries for her. She broke her foot right after moving in.
Oh dear.
Mine right.
If you still lived here, we could have like hobbled around the crescent together.
I know, we could have just ordered this. No.
Okay. All right. Well, we're 7:33. We may as well get into things. We've got a fantastic meeting ahead of us, so let's not waste any time and dive right into it. First off, we have a number of guests today. First, we've got couple of prospective Rotarians, well, certainly prospective Rotarians. Others may be interested after they see this meeting. Peter Kennedy, welcome. Jennifer Turner, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We have a couple of guests that have reached out to us via Facebook because they were interested in our topic today. We have Louise and we have Carrie. Welcome to both of you. Also, we have our who's becoming a very regular guest of ours, Ken Hurst from Ajax. Welcome, Ken. And of course, we've got our speaker, Kim Black. Kim, welcome. Welcome to our meeting. There's going to be a more fulsome introduction of our guest speaker shortly. So without further ado, I think I've got all the guests there. Yep. Without further ado, we'll do our toasts. First off, to Her Majesty the Queen. To the Queen.
Majesty the Queen.
Queen.
To Canada.
Canada.
And to Rotary International. And I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. We'd like to acknowledge that here in Bowmanville, we're on the traditional territory covered by the Williams Treaty, and that this land is the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation. We offer our gratitude to the Indigenous peoples for their care of the land, their teachings about our earth and our relations. With that, over to Rebecca Grieve for our invocation.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, so while we wait and wait and wait impatiently for the weather to turn, let us think spring thoughts. Let us think about our president-elect preparing to take the reins of our club. Let us think about our club goals and the role of each of us play in the to make the world. Each of us plays to make the world a better place through our involvement of Rotary. Let us think about opportunities to serve in new ways. Let us be thankful for the food and friends around this virtual table. And let us be thankful that spring will come eventually. That was written by Sean Bird of the Shewop Rotary Club.
Excellent. Nice, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Pauline, do we have any birthdays or anniversaries this week?
Yes, President Steve, it's been a busy week on the maternity ward. Rotarians having birthdays this week. Happy birthday, Rebecca Grieve on May 6th. Happy birthday, Fred Mandrick on May 9th. Happy birthday, Roy Snow on May 9th. And happy birthday, Lloyd Rang on May 10th.
Wow, it is a busy week. Holy cow.
And we have a couple of wedding anniversaries too. Steve and Debbie Code are celebrating 33 years of married bliss on May 7th. And Chris Zelasco and Vilva are celebrating 22 years on May 8th. And John Risk celebrates 38 years of service above self.
Wow.
That's it.
That is a busy week, Pauline. Holy cow.
May the force be with you.
Yes, and may the 4th be with you. But never forget about Revenge of the 5th tomorrow. All right, moving on to our program. Johanna, would you like to introduce our guest speaker for us, please?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I see her online. So good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to introduce you to an amazing woman this morning who has come to talk to us about resiliency. She is a mother, a wife, a student, a teacher, and a community leader, a former colleague from her lineage at UOAT, which is now called Ontario Tech. She actually serves as an inspiration to us all. Less than a year ago, in the summer of 2020, Kim was attacked by a stranger while walking alone in a neighborhood on a path she regularly walked. Assaulted and left for dead, she was diagnosed with brain damage and placed in a week-long coma while awaiting reconstructive jaw surgery. Remarkably, however, in November of that same year, Kim successfully defended her master's thesis just 4 months after the attack. Kim's strength, resilience, and courage are an inspiration to us all. She has created purpose from her personal tragedy and is using her experience to raise awareness about gender-based violence through her commitment to support other women in resiliency. I believe it goes without saying that we are honored with her presence here today to talk to us about her journey, to celebrate her remarkable life and gift to us all. Kim, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, very much. I feel honored to have been asked to speak with you this morning. So I have my notes to one side. So if I occasionally look away from the camera, that's why, just to remind myself. As Joanna just mentioned, I was the person who was attacked last summer on Anderson Street over by the police station of all places, and went through quite an ordeal, to be honest with you. And as was mentioned, I was just out for a walk, like I went so many times, but sometimes I would go with my husband and sometimes I would walk alone. And this particular time I walked alone. So there's a small patch of trees on Anderson Street that you pass, and I never paid attention to it before, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, at this particular instance, that was the place where I was knocked out and dragged into the woods and assaulted. And I spent the night there, actually, about 14 hours I was missing. And the police, the helicopter, the K9 unit, were all out looking for me. But it wasn't until the following morning that I was found. And I was found by two police officers who were on foot. That the morning after I went missing, all the police officers at the local station were given my picture and a map of where I normally walk. And they were told to go out on foot, kind of looking behind, houses in backyards and so forth. So two young police officers. I think the one that found me was only on the job for a couple of years, to be honest. So he decided, let's go into this forested area, this creek, and see what we find. And he spotted my arm, and then from there, so many wonderful things happened. Wonderful, I say now, because I'm here, but at the time it was pretty intense. I had was taken by ambulance to the Oshawa airport and was to be airlifted by Orange to St. Mike's Hospital, but I ended up having a cardiac arrest. So they had to redirect me to the Oshawa Hospital, and I proceeded to have 3 more cardiac arrests. So I had a total of 4 cardiac arrests before they could fly me to St. Mike's. And once I got to St. Mike's, they tested my brain, and that's when they determined I had global brain damage. And my husband was told to prepare to make a decision to pull the plug, I guess you could say. But they said, let's put her in a coma and give her body a week to kind of just relax and then see what we find, because there wasn't really any sense in them doing the reconstructive jaw surgery if my brain was dead. And reconstructive jaw surgery, because he basically shattered my face. He seemed to focus all of his violent assault on my face, which was kind of an odd thing. So it was crushed, shattered, and broken into 2 areas. So before they went to reconstruct it, they did another brain scan, and it turned out I had no brain damage, which was really amazing. So I went from having global brain damage to no brain damage. So they went ahead with the surgery, and then there was about 3 weeks where I was out of it, not really aware of my surroundings. I remember waking up in the ICU and looking around and being really confused. And I remember asking my husband and my son's older, he's almost 23, several times, like, what happened? And I couldn't talk because I had a tracheotomy put in place to help me with breathing, and because of the surgery. So I would mouth it, and I would, try and write, but I couldn't write either because I was so weak. Anyways, they wouldn't tell me, the medical team wouldn't tell me, and they said, just give her time. So I didn't actually find out what happened to me until probably about three, almost 4 weeks after I was in the hospital. So that was a bit of a shock. Anyways, there's a lot of details that I could go into, but other than being happy that the perpetrator was arrested and is currently sitting in protective custody, awaiting trial on charges of attempted murder, assault, sexual assault. That's the good news. And one good news I could maybe tip I can say as community members is that one of the reasons why he was caught was because on the route that I followed, which was, a neighborhood, a residential neighborhood. So it wasn't like I was off in some green space. Anyways, a lot of people had security cameras on their garages, above their garage. And the police went door to door before he was caught, trying to get video footage of that evening. And that's how they were able to find him. They have lots of video footage of this perpetrator following me. So I would say, if you're in a position to get a camera on your above your garage, do it not only for your own protection, but for the protection of others, because it was because of the video footage that luckily we were able to find him. So that's all the gory details. But I guess part of the reason why I was asked to speak today was because of all of the good things that happened as a result of this terrible incident. I scratch my head every day, to be honest with you, at the good that's come out of such a bad thing. And because of all the good, I often forget about the bad. I forget that I have court to deal with, and I forget about the guy that attacked me. I actually do. So I'm going to share some of the amazing things the community did for me that helped to, I think, contribute to my resiliency and my positive attitude. So one of the very amazing things that happened while I was actually in the hospital and out of it was that the Durham Regional Police organized a Take Back the Walk event. Maybe you heard of it or participated in it. What they did was they organized, I think it was a 5-kilometer walk along the route that I walked, and the community could get involved, just as a show of solidarity of the community, the kind of community support we have. So not only did the Durham Regional Police organize that, but neighborhoods of women in the surrounding areas came together and hosted candlelight vigils, walked together, and simply started, I guess, looking out for one another more. And there were even some yoga and meditation vigils that were put on to support women in the community as a result of my attack. So more than anything, it just created awareness, like we need to look out for each other. So I think that's really awesome. And then in early November, MPs and the MPPs of the town of Whitby, along with Mayor Don Mitchell and Durham Regional Chair John Henry, they hosted an event to show solidarity in the fight against gender-based violence, where I was honored by receiving lots of multiple personalized messages and gifts of support. It was a small community event at the head office there. And then they also named November as Women's Abuse Prevention Month, which really, really touched me. I have a beautiful piece of art hanging in my office that was gifted to me there. Another totally unexpected initiative that was put in place for me by dozens of men and women in Whitby, Brooklyn, and the surrounding areas of Durham and beyond was the meal train. And to be honest, I'd never heard of the meal train before. Maybe all of you have already heard of the meal train, but I never had. So what ended up happening was every other night for 3 months, dinner was delivered to my front door by people in the community. And oh my goodness, I had so many wonderful meals. And it was really nice to see the love that was put into that effort. And people had their children make cards and, wishing me well. And I had restaurants donate meals, like just tons of beautiful meals. The only thing is I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't want to spoil it, but from my head injuries, I lost my sense of taste and smell. It still hasn't come back yet. Apparently there's very delicate nerves behind your nose, and a lot of people who experience head injury apparently lose their sense of taste and smell. So right now, it's kind of like if you plug your nose and take a bite of food and chew, that's what I experience. Like I can sense sweetness or saltiness or sour, but I can't actually taste the flavor. So I didn't want to tell everyone that, but because I tasted the love, I guess you could say, from the meal train. So another way I was supported was through the donation of house cleaning services. So the Merry Maids is very big in Durham. The woman who owns Merry Maids is the mother of a high school friend of my son's. So when she found out what happened to me, she said, you know, what better way to help than to offer house cleaning services. So she donated 1 year of house cleaning services to us, which has really come in handy. And to be honest, my husband is the one that cleans the house because he's super particular, which is totally awesome. But this service has just been really, really helped us a lot, taking the pressure off of him, because as you can imagine, he's been through a lot himself. And another way I was supported not only by our immediate community, but beyond, was the GoFundMe campaign. Maybe some of you are aware of it. It raised a considerable amount of money to help us with our living expenses and to help me with therapy and then potentially future surgeries, because one of the surgeries that I will have to have if I choose to is my jaw will need to be rebroken to set my teeth, because they're out of alignment now. I guess from the reconstructive jaw surgery, you know, they did the best they could with the time they had, but my teeth are out of alignment and it's hard for me to chew. So if I want to fix it, I have to have it rebroken. And as you can imagine, I'm not real keen on doing that, but it's something that I'll have to consider. So with the GoFundMe campaign, my husband and I created a short little video using my phone just to say thank you to everyone, because there was, I think, over 2,000 people that donated to that. And it was just a random little video that I posted on my YouTube channel, and it got almost 50,000 views. I was really surprised, like, why do so many people know about the story? Why are so many people interested in the story? But what it taught me was that people want to hear good news. They want to hear that someone's okay. Someone came out on the other side in a good way. So what it told me was, you know, to create content about positivity and resilience, because we all could use that. And it's not so much that I kind of have that, what do they call it, toxic positivity. I know it's not possible to be positive all the time. I know that it's one of those things where the be positive messaging, #BePositive, has a story behind it, and I'll share it real quick. When I was brought to the ICU, when I was unconscious, my husband was bombarded with a bunch of questions. What medications is your wife on? What is she allergic to? And what is her blood type? And he didn't know my blood type, and it made him cry. He was like, oh my God, they need this really important information. I don't have it. She may need a transfusion. So they said not to worry, we'll find out. So they took my blood type. They came back and they said, we just wanted to let you know your wife's blood type is B positive. And he cried. He said, of course it's B positive. You know, what else could it be? Because I'm generally a pretty positive person. So he thought it was just kind of ironic that my blood type was B positive. And as it turns out, my husband is a professional musician. He has several CDs. So when we came home and everything settled down in life and that, he wrote a song called Be Positive, which he released in March, which is available on Spotify and iTunes, Apple Music and so forth. So that's the story behind the Be Positive messaging. So my YouTube channel now pretty much targets that, what I think contributed to my resilience, and messages about how to be positive, how to find the silver lining, and it's still taking shape. So one of the last initiatives that I wanted to share, as Johanna mentioned, that I finished my master's at the end of November, and that was really momentous for me, I have to say, because 2 weeks before I was attacked, I submitted my thesis for grading. And was scheduled to defend it in mid-August. And of course, I was in the ICU in mid-August. So my supervisors, they put a leave of absence in place for me. And so when I came home, they said, don't rush, take your time. There's no expectations on you. As far as we're concerned, you're already done. But they said it would probably be good for you to present it to kind of bring closure. So whenever you're ready. And I felt like I had taken so long to get everything done as it was. So I said, let's just do it this year. Let's do it. So we scheduled it for the end of November. And I went on my computer and I said, okay, I've got to start preparing for this. And it turns out I had half of it prepared already and I forgot. So the presentation, I just needed to gather a few things together and prepare the slides, and I was able to present it at the end of November. And I recorded, it was recorded, and I posted it on my YouTube channel as well, kind of as a last hurrah, for the thesis, but also to show that sometimes we go through difficult times in life, and sometimes those difficult times slow us down, but they don't have to stop us. You don't have to stop trying to accomplish your goals. You just maybe need to take a little bit longer to accomplish it. That's all. So as a result of the last thing I'll share of my attack, one of the faculty members at Ontario Tech, Faculty of Education, Professor Jeanette Hughes, she actually lives almost right across the street from where I was attacked. So it really impacted her. Plus she has a young daughter that's 19, and both of them go for walks and runs on the same route. And it really impacted her. So she initiated a scholarship fund in my name. And when I found this out, I just cried. I cried so much because I was so happy, because that was actually a goal that I had. It was a goal because on several occasions while finishing my master's degree, I thought I was going to have to quit because I ran out of money. It's very expensive, and when you're going to school and trying to work and pay bills, it's sometimes a little bit of a challenge. So someone helped me out, and I dedicated my thesis to that person, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So in my mind, I was always like, one day I'm going to start a scholarship fund. One day I'm going to start a scholarship fund to help someone like I was helped. And then this initiative was started. I was like, oh my goodness, serendipity, what can I say? So anyways, this scholarship fund, currently right now, it's active. It's kind of geared towards May 9th. So next Sunday, Mother's Day, since it's more of a women's celebration, and the scholarship will go to benefit a woman who has shown commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion. So people can donate to that. And also I'm selling t-shirts on my website, Be Positive t-shirts. I have a logo that was designed by a student at Durham College, and all the proceeds from the t-shirt sales will go to the scholarship fund as well. And already I've sold 175 t-shirts, so it's become a full-time job, let me just say. Anyway, so the take-home message that I would say from this experience is that people are generally good, and people really just want to help. That's what I've noticed. And I've learned the value of community and finding different ways to get involved in the community like you are right now, and how important it is to connect with other people. So going forward, I'll be focused on that, be positive messaging, and I'm writing a book, and there's also a nonprofit organization currently being put in place right now called the Kimberly Foundation, which will help try and put an end to gender-based violence, or at least bring awareness to it. Thank you very much for your time. I hope I didn't go over.
No, you didn't, Kimberly. That was fantastic. You kind of took us all through a range of emotions there, but I got to tell you, you sealed the deal on the be positive bit with your husband. That one over the edge. So, what an incredible story, and thank you. There must be a question or two out there for Kimberly.
Yes, feel free to ask. I'm an open book.
If you're okay with that.
Absolutely, ask anything.
Okay.
Well, first of all,
go ahead.
Yes, yeah. First of all, I want to say I am just amazed by your courage and your positivity and how you came through this ordeal. It just blows me away. The question I have is, did this happen during the daytime or at nighttime?
That's a great question. I left for a walk at 8 p.m. And it was summer, so it was still light out. I'm not in the habit of going for walks alone at night. So I thought, okay, I have a little bit of time left before it gets dark. So I'm going to go out for a walk now. So it was 8 o'clock. It was dusk, I guess you could say.
Very scary.
Okay, Joe.
Yeah, Kimberly, thanks very much for speaking with us. Quite a story you have to tell. You might have, I'm sure you've had this conversation, or maybe not, I don't know. At some point when this goes to trial, you may get to face your accused attacker. Have you thought about, you probably have, what are you going to say to that? And if you get a chance, what would you say to him?
Well, it's a really good question, because as traumatic as this was, really the trauma was experienced by my husband and my son, to be honest, because I was physically violated. I experienced physical trauma, but the mental and emotional trauma was experienced by them. So I don't have feelings of anger, or I'm more confused. Like, this guy is the same age as my son, and I'm like, why did you, first of all, attack someone who's old enough to be your mother? Second of all, why did you ruin your life? Why did you make this decision? That's more what I'm interested in, not look what you did to me. Look at my face now. Like, I don't think like that. I don't know why. It's kind of an odd thing. I ponder it a lot. That question. But I would just like to know, like, what made you do this? And at the same time, I sort of feel like someone that would choose to take an action like that, maybe there isn't really a rational conversation to have, so it's confusing, but there's time, because the court case was put over because he fired his lawyer. So everything kind of got pushed probably till the fall.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Kim, if you've got time for another couple of questions, we have two more here. First, Ken Hurst, and then Jennifer Turner, and then we'll do that. Go ahead, Ken. You're muted, Ken.
Yeah, that was an amazing story, Kimberly. It's unbelievable. But my question is, he was caught because of the cameras. But since then, has there been any information about he has done this before, but never did get caught?
Oh my goodness. When I came home, I got to meet the Crown. So I think in September is the first time I met the Crown. And the one thing the Crown said to me, great guy too, he said, you're often going to feel out of the loop because there's so many details that we can't share with you and you can't know until it's over. But they had, I think, almost 10,000 pages of witness testimony. I don't know what you call it. There's some legal term for it. It's 10,000 pages of stuff. But there's, if he was, for instance, a young offender, that can't factor into it apparently. And I won't know that. So that's a question I've been asked a lot. Was he a young offender? Did he do this before? So because the file is sealed on that, if he was, it's not something that they can even take into account. However, lots of people came forward once they saw who it was. And that's partly, there were 20 witnesses that were supposed to give testimony at the end of March before he fired his lawyer. So there's many people that have come forward. And I know the lead detective said that even apart from what he did to me, they definitely need to protect the public because of what I guess he's done in the past, and the dangerous offender application is something they've put forward. So apparently he's been involved in stuff like this before. It just happened to come out with me. So there's a lot I don't know, but I look forward. I don't know if that's a kind of thing. I look forward to finding out, just because there's so many details that I don't know, but I do want to know.
Thank you.
Steve, you're muted.
Jen Turner, over to you.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for your story. It's very touching and very emotional. I remember when this happened to you, and I remember it very clearly because my husband suddenly wouldn't let me go for my walks anymore by myself. He insisted that he come walking with me. He walks much slower than I do, so it was a bit frustrating. But what happened to you impacted him as a husband. And you said that your husband has been dealing with a bit more trauma from an emotional standpoint than you have. How is your husband recovering? And has this changed your relationship with him? And how has it changed it?
I'm going to try not to cry. That's the first time I feel emotional from a question. First of all, I'm not allowed to walk alone anymore either. So I hear, but it's not meant to be controlling. It's just, fear from him. It's like he needs to know where I am and that I'm okay. So, okay, just let me take a drink of coffee. Okay, so my husband has been an absolute champion from day one. When I was taken into the hospital, first of all, he reports me missing, and here's the thing: it doesn't take 24 hours for someone to be reported missing, because he reported me missing after just a few hours, because it was odd that I didn't come home. So that's something maybe people don't know. But once they even found me and I was on my way to the hospital, he didn't get to go. He had to sit on the couch and be questioned by police because, usually domestic violence results in what happened to me. So he was, for a brief moment, the person potentially who did it, so that was traumatic. Anyway, so once he finally was able to get to the hospital, he refused to leave, and it was COVID. So the ICU team was absolutely amazing. They gave him access to a room on the down low and a key. It's like a nurse's lounge where it had like a couch that he could have naps on. So for 10 days straight, he did not leave the hospital. He would take naps, and then he would come and he would sit in front of the ICU room, and I only now know because of all the footage with COVID what ICU rooms look like, but they have like a glass door, a glass wall. So he'd sit there on a chair in front of the glass, just watching me, and he'd take his phone and he'd put his phone through the door, and he'd play me songs that he's written that I love. He'd read messages to me that people were sending, like messages of hope and well wishes, and just share things with me. So my subliminal mind was absorbing all this positivity, and I firmly believe that helped me. Anyway, so and he helped the nurses in the ICU even like take care of me. Like he would clean me and do different things and a lot of that stuff I don't even remember, because I was so out of it. But then when we came home, at the rehab too, he always arrived first thing in the morning, and he wouldn't leave my side until I fell asleep at night so that I would never be alone. So trying not to cry. Anyway, so he showed his loyalty and commitment. Even his mom says, if I didn't know he loved you before, I know he loves you now. So since we've been home, he's been very protective and very affectionate, and just trying to move forward and not have to like have that constantly, like the court proceedings constantly in our mind. He's just trying to focus on getting me healthy. And I guess it's changed us a little bit, but not in any way except for the better. And I guess we'll see where it goes from there. But I honestly, he's my absolute champion. He's my champion. Sorry if I went on too much.
Thank you.
Well, Kimberly, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to share your story with us. You took us through a range of emotions, as I said before, from horror and fear to inspiration and gratitude. And you're leaving strangely, after a terrible story with I've got such a positive feeling in my head about how you've got through it. Thank you. Okay. Well, we're going to be moving on to the next piece of our agenda, folks. We're going to give Happy Bucks a bit of a miss. I want to make sure that we have enough time for the rest of our agenda. If we have time at the end, we'll do some Happy Bucks there. Kimberly, you're welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, although we understand if you've got a few things going on. And
I'll go. I'll just say goodbye to everyone. Please connect with me on YouTube, on LinkedIn, whatever you want. If you have questions, feel free to send them to me. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Bye.
All right, moving on to one of my favorite recurring parts of a Rotary meeting, Know Your Rotarian. This week, we get to know a little bit more about Renee and Rachel. Over to you, ladies.
Okay.
Renee, do you want to go first, or would you like me to, Renee?
No, I can go first. That's okay.
Okay, good. I'm still catching my breath after that.
Well, there you go. Well, we started off a very pleasant and a very, very long talk and a lot of laughter. I discovered we have a lot of the same interests in Rotary, and especially in Rotary International. And Rachel is a Rotarian for about 3 years now, Rachel. And looking forward to her year, I think 2023, to be our president. And I know she will do a fantastic job. She already did leadership training, which is also a very important part of being involved in the local Rotary Club and also in the international level. She is a very busy mother. Besides her full-time career in insurance, she is a mom of 2 teenagers and is very busy with that. And because we talked about the Corona situation, that leaves us really exhausted after a long day of work and everything else that comes with the children and homeschooling and so on and so forth. but she also loves to go for long walks in nature and enjoys her travel. But travel is not possible right now, so we can only travel in the area where we live. She loves to relax at home, and I got to know her as a very, very positive Rotarian. She always has a smile on her face. She's always there, like, to encourage other people. I think we had a real positive thing with Rachel coming to our Rotary Club. And I'm really looking forward to hear more from her, what's going to happen in the coming years. And that was my talk with Rachel.
Thank you, Renee.
Short and sweet.
Thank you. Mine's not going to be as short, and mine's going to be longer. I have so much I can say about Renee, so I'm going to try not to say go on too long. But I first want to start by saying, if for any of our new members, or even members like me, like who's still relatively new, 3 years, 4 years, Renee has to be one of our best resources as a Rotarian on. Really is just an absolutely wonderful Rotarian. She loves Rotary. She fully embodies service above self, the 4-way test. Everything wonderful about Rotary is found in Renee. Renee joined Rotary about 15 years ago, and she jumped in with 2 feet, like right in, and immediately started going to the district conferences. She talked about going with Susan, and she talked about going to the leadership training, lots of fun events with Wayne and Fred and Susan. She talked about going to Montreal and how that was the first international conference she went to, and how wonderful of a time. Fred's already given a thumbs up on that one. How wonderful of a time you guys had. And she's in the last year, what she's missing most is the social part. So she's been enjoying the speakers on Zoom, but she's someone who, when she's gone to Rotary, she's really loved just kind of reaching out, getting to know her, getting to know everybody, and saying hi to their fellow Rotarians. So she does keep herself busy trying to reach out to her friends in Rotary. One thing that I loved that Renee did when she first joined Rotary is she sat at the registration table, for lack of a better word, at our morning meeting. So when everybody arrived, she was there to greet everybody. And within the first couple of meetings, she knew every Rotarian's name. So it was important to her that she get to know everyone really well, and it was the best way to do so. There's a couple of lots of fond memories that Renee's brought up with Rotary, and when she brings them up, it really talks about how the type of person she is. So one of Renee's favorite memories is when we did an exchange with some professionals from India. And it sounds like a wonderful exchange just because it's really interesting, but it also says a lot about Renee. So Renee was one of the hosts, and she had a woman from India stay with her, and she still corresponds back and forth with this woman. And the woman was vegan. So I can appreciate that. And Renee, went out of her way to learn how to, even bought a vegan cookbook so she could make sure that she was making this person feel welcome. And that, I find, is something that embodies Renee. When you talk to her, she's full of compassion in so much of what she does. And you will see this on how she talks about Rotary projects. You will see this when she talks about Matawa and how important that project is to her, and how when she visits Thunder Bay, she has an empathy and an understanding of really wanting to get to know people, and a love for people, and a love for people around the world internationally. She keeps herself busy doing things like she cooks food for friends and family that don't have, that maybe don't have someone to cook for them, or she's just, that sort of person that when she's making something, she makes extra and she shares it with her friends. She likes to, like myself, we both love being outdoors, even if it's cold and it means bundling up in our winter coats and sitting outside just to get a little bit of sunshine. She grew up with a very real awareness of the sacrifices given during the war. She talked about how important it was when she grew up and how important it was when she was raising her children. She talked about the sacrifices during World War II and how in Holland, where she was born, the students still to this day in grades 6 and 7 actually take care of the graves for the Canadian and US soldiers. And what was remarkable about that is it's a wonderful story, but it's something that not only that she did, but it was so important that her own children do it. And it's something that they've always, it's always been important, and she remembers this. She's okay. I think I kind of covered it, but what I wanted to basically we had a wonderful talk, and I encourage everyone who hasn't had a chance to really get to know Renee, certainly when we get back together, and that's one thing she can't wait for is the time we can. She mentioned maybe sitting out at Jason's house, having a nice barbecue, and catching up with each other, and that really is Renee's favorite part of Rotary, is the fellowship that we have. So yeah, I encourage everyone to get to know Renee a little bit better.
Thank you both. That was great. Really good. Just when you thought you knew both of you, you learned a couple new things. That's thank you. Okay, moving on. We've got our community report, and we've got another guest. Tara Ali joined us once we got into our program, but so I didn't get a chance to say welcome. Welcome, Tara. She's going to speak to us about early on education. Joe, why don't you do a more full
Yeah, you know, I sort of can't resist bringing people in to talk here. So back in the summer, the waterfront park in Newcastle came across what looked like an office meeting. There were a few people sitting around socially distanced in a circle. And of course, being nosy, walked over and said, hey, you guys having an office meeting? And they said, we sure are. And they told us about who they were. And it turned out it's this group called Early On, early the word, and then ON in capital letters. And they work with families and young children. And they were trying to figure out what they were going to do during COVID. And so they talked a little bit about that. And then I saw a few of them again later around just before Halloween in Soper Creek Park. And they were doing the same thing. And I said, listen, you guys got to come in and talk to us. Tell us a little bit about what you do around town, because it's super interesting. And so Tara Ali, she is a facilitator at Early On Clarington. And welcome, Tara.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me this morning. So basically Early On is, we are funded by the region of Durham and the Ministry of Ed. When I present anything, so we offer free virtual programs right now. So usually we have a space at a school, and we facilitate programs where parents can come in, do some activities with their children, and we provide all the equipment, we clean up the mess. It's kind of we encourage the parent to engage with their children. So we struggled what we were going to do during COVID. So right now we meet a lot like this. So we will give parents the passcode. They will come on with their children. We will do a program, usually 45 minutes. So we sing, we'll read stories, we'll give them craft ideas. When we're allowed, we do they're called Tree of Giving. So we will go out in the community with bags of craft supplies, activities for children, and give them out. So I think that's where Joe saw us down at Soper Creek Park. So we're really racking our heads how we can support our families virtually and still have that relationship once COVID is over and we can get back together. Parents are very, very concerned about how this is going to affect their children's future and their social skills. So we're trying to plan ahead right now and see how we can support them. So we have a virtual town hall coming up in June where parents can log on with different community agencies such as behavior management or Grandview, where they can pose questions about their child's development. That is just one of we have a self-care workshop coming up in Clarington. So Clarington, we're serving Newcastle, Bowmanville, and Curtis. So there's early ons all across Ontario, but that is our region. So we're a staff of 11, and we are just, trying to support our families as best as we can virtually. So when we can, we go outside with them. We provide gross motor activities. We're trying to do circles outside. We teach infant massage outside when we can. So yeah, we just try to take whatever we did inside and take it outside or get it online. So that's kind of basically as a sums up early on. So the YMCA is our umbrella agency. So the Y is also supporting people through virtual fitness classes, and there's a new Why Be Kind campaign starting in May. So lots and lots of stuff going on how we can support people. So should I open it up to questions, Joe, or?
That's up to Steve. He's the timekeeper here.
Yeah, I'm not, well, does anyone, well, we have time for one question. Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask?
Yeah, I'll ask it.
Okay.
Are you guys going to get,
Sorry.
sorry, no, go ahead. Nobody else, if nobody else.
Go, Joe.
No, you guys have plan, I mean, what are you planning to do in terms of the summer? Are you looking forward to getting, like, have they given you any timeline?
It all depends on what comes down after this lockdown. So we are ready to go outside as of June if we get the go ahead. All our recommendations come from what we're allowed to do. So if we can get out, we will be doing virtual indefinitely, just for those families that don't feel comfortable coming out for a while. But yeah, we've got plans to get out in the community again.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time for us today, Tara. That was really interesting, and I love that you found a way to get through. Okay, moving on. We've got just a few announcements. Reminder: you should see the link in the weekly message I'm sending out from our district governor, Mark Chipman. Time to register for the district conference. I actually did it yesterday, so I'm not just telling you to do something that I haven't done. It costs $10, right? And that $10 goes to the foundation. So, so it's totally worth it. That the conference is scheduled for June 25th, 26th. And in the afternoon, we're going to try and find, if we're allowed to, we're going to find something to do together to kind of help in the community and get our name out there as well. Haven't decided on what that is yet. Wanted to let you all know that the summer squad is going to be happening again. We have our funding. I think I mentioned this last week. We've had our first planning meeting, and we've got a good core team set to not only hire but help oversee this fantastic program. We have our, well, what is my penultimate board meeting. It's one of my favorite words, penultimate, next Wednesday, May 12th. So if you're a director, make sure you get me your report by Friday. And also to let everyone know that Rachel and Joe have the DEI committee underway. If you're interested in participating in that, make sure you reach out to one of them. We do have a couple of minutes here. We skipped over Happy Bucks. Does anyone have any news they'd like to share? Big Dog, over to you. Still muted, Fred. Still muted.
My audio, how's that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Good? All right, yeah. Ironically, I've got some happy news, but it's about a sad situation. And well, not sad, but when somebody dies, it always is. A year ago or so, Doug Park passed away. And lo and behold, I've been in contact with the family throughout the year. And one of Doug's daughter's dear friends, Jeannie Hicks, had sent a donation in at Doug's funeral but somehow it got mixed up over the course of the summer and never did arrive. So the two of us got together to straighten out the problem. And Jeannie and I are both making a $100 donation to the Youth Services Committee. Just a reminder that Doug is always with us. So that'll go towards the bursary account.
Thank you very much, Fred.
Okay.
Jen Turner, you've got your hand up.
I do. I have 10 happy bucks, 5 for me and 5 for my husband. We won the Willy Wonka golden ticket on the weekend. We were called by a pharmacy and went in and got our first dose of vaccinations. My husband's been essential the whole time, so he's been going to work every day. And so he was really happy to cross this milestone off his list. So that's great.
Excellent.
And we've gotten through the side effects on the other side.
Yep, it hits some people harder than others, that's for sure. Okay, well, thank you, Jen. If there aren't any other happy bucks, we've got a quote of the week from Gord Wallace.
Well, before I have a quote of the week, I think Ken's got a happy.
Oh, I didn't see his hand up. There we go, Ken. What's your happy buck?
My happy buck is thank you for welcoming me back again and so many times. And for that, I definitely need to leave a happy buck for an amazing speaker and event today. I'm going to leave $20.27. And that's because of us returning to Honolulu in 2027 for the Rotary Convention. So we can start planning now. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Ken. You're always welcome to join our meetings.
Thank you. One thing, Ken and I will be there with grass skirts on. That's going to be our plan. He doesn't know it yet, but he just found out.
Thanks.
We're going to travel in tandem.
Okay, Fred.
Neighborhood.
Perfect.
Okay, over to you, Mr. Wallace.
Well, if it's over to me, I'm really glad I caught that because we made 20 bucks out of it and 27 cents. And I'm also really glad that you're able to fit scheduled into the meeting. Steve, you're able to schedule that in.
Yep.
So so my job quote of the week.
The ultimate thing for the meeting, right?
Right. That's me. So my job to do quote of the week. I always really wanted to do one of my own quotes, but I couldn't find any that was really applicable for the meeting. So I found this one, and it's from an odd character. And I doubt very many of you are going to recognize the quote, but so here it goes. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Huh. Wow.
How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Okay, now I know that Joe, who is it?
It's I don't know. It's a baseball player of some kind.
No.
Rocky Balboa.
Very good, Don Gleed.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Gord. If there's nothing else for the good of Rotary, remember in the things that you say and you do, our four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And with that, have a fantastic week, everyone, and a great day. Cheers.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Hi, Ron.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.